Or neighbouring Egypt, its military rulers say they will hand over power to the newly elected president by the end of this month. But exactly how much power will the new president have? That's a big question.
Supporters of Mohamed Morsi celebrate what they claim is a win for the Muslim Brotherhood candidate in Egypt's presidential election. But the vote count remains unclear and official results are not now due to be published until Thursday. Meanwhile, the country's military council has vowed to hand over power to whoever is elected president by the end of the month. Speaking after the council had earlier issued an interim constitution giving the general sweeping powers, Major General Mohammed Al-Assar tried to allay fears of a power grab. He said the new president will be handed all powers vested in the position of the president as the head of the executive authority, with all due respect afforded to a head of state. Insisting those powers should come to him, Ahmed Shafiq, who was ousted President Hosni Mubarak's last prime minister, is also claiming victory. He's challenged Morsi's figures, accusing him of trying to usurp the presidency. Whoever is officially declared president later this week, the military's last-minute bid to retain its grip on power has raised the likelihood of confrontation and yet more turmoil in Egypt.
Ahmed Shafiq, Hosni Mubarak's former prime minister, isn't conceding defeat yet, and his allies in the military are starting to look like an immovable force. Even before the results started to leak out, the ruling military council granted itself sweeping powers, taking advantage of a court ruling dissolving the Islamist-dominated parliament, effectively limiting the new president's role.
Across the Nile at the Cairo Yacht Club, the mood is subdued. But supporters of the military candidate Ahmed Shafiq say it's not yet over.
We have to wait the decision of the highest committee for the presidential election. We have to wait.
If the Muslim Brotherhood does win, he says, it will be a disaster.
What I'm afraid from the Muslim brothers, frankly speaking, that they isolate Egypt from the international community.
But a President Morsi will still have to get past these men, and they don't appear to be going anywhere.
Egypt's military council is now back in charge of legislation, and more importantly, it's the military, not the new president, that will oversee the writing of Egypt's new constitution.
It was meant to be a declaration defining the role of the president, but it's more like solidifying the military's power. In a news conference, the unelected ruling military council, or SCAF, laid out their new laws. Essentially, the army says it will be its own boss. The new president will not be commander-in-chief. SCAF has given itself control over the budget. And in the absence of a sitting parliament, the military council will retain what it calls limited legislative power. Rights groups and revolutionary forces describe the amendments as a consolidation of military rule, legalizing a process that began last year when the military took over the country. It renders, they argue, completely meaningless the handover to civilian rule, which is meant to take place in just 2 weeks' time.